have a son who's moderately autistic that I bring up every once in a while, and I want to sort of talk about, I'm not going to talk directly, I'm going to spend a second talking about it. He has this kid who's in his class, who's in his primary class, who is a sort of a frenemy type of a kid. He's somebody that he likes, he doesn't like. It just depends on the day and the hour. I don't get to see the interaction. I imagine they both get on each other's nerves at various points in time, which I don't think is a horribly unusual thing. But the thing is, he gets in trouble and gets put in timeout a lot, my son does, for things that happen with this other young man. Well, the thing about it is, I've had this recurring theme in my conversation with him, and basically what it's been is this. Yes, you're going to get mad. Sometimes you're literally going to get irate. And you have a choice. How will you respond to that? How will you respond? And that's why I wanted to talk about this idea of feelings and actions on the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I'm your host. I'm Kurt, and today is Sunday, the 24th of October of 2021. Welcome to everyone who's here on the podcast and on YouTube. Doing it the other way, doing the thanks this time. Remember that Rumble is my preferred platform, and again, the subject for today is going to be feelings and actions. And it's sort of autism related, but the truth of the matter is it's really pretty generic, and it's particularly something that I think young people need to hear. Do you get irate at people? Do you even just get angry at others? If you answer no, you're either an odd individual, which isn't inherently bad, or a liar. Jesus, called Christ, drove the money changers out of the temple with a whip of cords, literally the guy that Christians would call the emissary of peace in many regards. Drove money changers out of the temple with a whip of cords. You can argue he wasn't upset all you want. I'm pretty certain you'd be mistaken. He was upset. I tell folks I have a moderately autistic son. Much of what happens in his life that's not, quote, part of the standard pattern, end of quote, upsets his little apple cart. His natural tendency, and I'd argue he's far from alone in this, is to lash out when that happens. I've had to make two things crystal clear to him. The first, we all get angry. It's not some sort of abnormal thing that happens only to him. The second is, getting angry is one thing, reacting badly is another. It's hard to not lash out or otherwise misbehave. That said, though it takes work to do it, you can learn how to master that. And I would argue that that's a matter of mastering yourself. But the one thing I want to make plain is, when people tell you things like being happy, mad, or sad indicates you have problems, or even being on an emotional roller coaster is always bad, they're badly confused in my opinion. The question is not, do I have various, even strong feelings, and by the way, very quickly sometimes. The question is, what do I do when I feel angry or sad or, quite frankly, even happy? It can be hard to make it so our actions don't reflect our feelings, but one learns in the long run it's really important to figure out how to do just that, to be a master of ourselves. I, in growing up, mostly was able to keep myself from lashing out at others. I'm not going to tell you that that was always true. There are a couple of times in my history that I can remember when I did things that were basically lashing out at others, and they were inappropriate. It was wrong. I should not have done what I did. And I'm here to tell you that that can be a very hard thing to figure out. I also want for you to know this thing. When you're young, you think that how your life works out as a young person, it's going to be like that for the rest of it. That's just not true. You may have to walk away from the place where you lived as a child in order to make things better, but you can make things better. Ask Bill Gates, who was probably bullied as a kid. I don't know, maybe he wasn't. I said before, and I think that this is true, that Dinesh D'Souza might have suffered a little bit of that based on the kind of person he is. But if you look at him, if you look at Dinesh, and if you look at Bill, you don't see people who are horribly retributive. You know, they don't go around trying to exact retribution on people as far as I can tell. And they seem to be pretty well balanced individuals on the whole. As a kid, I dealt with people bullying me and so forth. And yes, at times, like I say, I lashed out and acted badly as a result of that. For the most part, what I did was just found ways around it. That's all I did. But the thing that I'm trying to make pretty plain here is there's a difference between how you feel and how you act. That's why, like I say, I entitled this Feelings and Actions, because, look, you're going to get angry. You're going to get potentially irate. You're going to get upset. You're going to be sad. You're going to be happy. And in all of these things, you can behave in ways that are good, or you can behave in ways that are not so good. My son periodically behaves in ways that he really shouldn't behave. And look, it's a part of being a kid. I'm not sitting here saying I never expect him to have problems or get in trouble or go into timeout or whatever it is that they happen to do. And I know that it's tumultuous, and I know that people who are teenagers and prepubescent and even just beginning to fall into those teen years have those raging hormones to deal with, and that seems to be particularly true for males. I can't say that it's not equally so for females, because as I said before, I don't know what it's like to be a female, boys and girls. Only as much as I can sort of see is what I know. But my point is to say this: you've got those raging hormones and all of that, but if you can master yourself, if you can say, I'm not going to let these things bother me enough to react, you're going to keep yourself out of trouble. I, as a teenager, got myself into trouble at least once as a result of the fact that somebody who was a friend of mine at the time acted badly towards me. And I can't remember really where it started. It may have been me, right? It probably was me, because I was a little bit of an idiot back then. So probably I did something, and he responded. He stood up, and I stood up, and he pushed me over, and we both got in trouble and ended up getting sent to either the headmaster or the assistant headmaster. This was in an Australian school, and got in trouble. We literally got a corporal punishment as a result of that, what they call the cuts. 6 of the best is what I got. I don't know what he got for sure. I hope not much, because it really probably was all my fault, to be fair. But my point is this: if you react badly, you can count on consequences that you will not want. And I'm not speaking out of turn. I'm speaking as somebody who's lived there. Maybe not to the degree that it's true for other people. Nonetheless, I've lived there. And I think when you talk to older people, you'll find that almost every one of them, even people you would assume never had problems with that, dealt with outrage, rage, irateness, etc. And look, some of them go really, really crazy, really out there, like the guys, various people who have done school shootings. I'm sorry that you were treated badly. I'm sorry that things worked out badly for you, but to basically wreck other people's lives and potentially wreck your own is not a solution to that. I get that there's a great deal of pressure. I get it, and I'm not trying to put you down, and I do feel sympathy for the fact that you feel that pressure. But I'm just going to tell you something that your parents may have already said if you're a teen, and that is tough it out. Tough it out, because a lot of these people who are messing with you, they have their own problems, and it's why they're messing with you. And that happens in adulthood too. People who are upset and frustrated, people who are having bad days or whatever, and that's why it behooves you to act in good ways. Because a lot of times what will happen is, I had this guy that I worked with, and the guy didn't like me at all. Don't know why, not sure, doesn't really matter. All you need to know is he didn't like me. My response was to back off and let him have his whacks at me when he wanted to. It wasn't physical, but it was, not bullying, but he was quite emotional and quite upset. And ultimately what happened as a result of that was we ended up actually being sort of friends. I haven't seen him in a while, but I still count him my friend. And I'll just tell you something right now. If I'd have acted badly, we probably would have had enmity between us forever. Because I chose not to act badly, he calmed down, he settled down, and everything actually ended up being kind of good for both of us in certain ways. And I hope he's doing well these days. I don't get a chance to see him. But this is the kind of thing that I wanted for you to understand. I know you feel certain ways. How you act does not have to reflect how you feel. It just doesn't. Okay, need to go ahead and wrap up now. This is the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I'm your host. I'm Kurt, and today is Sunday, the 24th of October of 2021, that beginning of the Christian week. Tomorrow will be, for most people, the beginning of the work week, and that'll be Monday, the 25th of October of 2021. Hope you're having a good day today. Hope things are going well for you. The subject for today has been feelings and actions. Tomorrow we're going to talk about good money after bad, and this is based on a tweet that a friend that I don't really know all that well personally, but that I consider a friend said, which I agree with, but I want to sort of throw a little bit of thought into this idea. Again, thank you for everyone who's been here on Rumble, on the podcast, and on YouTube. Remember that Rumble is my preferred platform. You can give me a boxing glove or a plus on Rumble if you want to do that. That's a positive feedback. You can give me a minus, which would be a negative feedback if you feel the need to do it. I hope you don't, but if you do, by all means do so. You can give me a thumbs up or a like on YouTube as a positive feedback. You can give me a thumbs down or a dislike also on YouTube as a negative one. Remember that on any platform that you can comment on, I will try to look at the comments, and I will do my level best to try and understand where you're coming from when you do comment. Thanks again for joining me today, and hopefully I will see you again on Monday's edition of the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. The speaker on this edition of the Daily Summation is Kurt Schubert. This video was recorded on Sunday, the 24th of October of 2021. The Daily Summation is created for Kurt's Religion and Politics. Thanks for watching this edition of the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I hope you found it entertaining or instructional, or maybe both. If you want to see more from me, you can go to blogs.kpschubert.com. That's blogs.kpschubert.com. I am on Twitter, Parler, and Minds.com. My handle on each of those is @kpschubert. That's @kpschubert. I have a Rumble and a YouTube channel. They are the Kurt's Religion and Politics channels on Rumble and YouTube. I have a Facebook page. The Facebook page is Kurt's Religion and Politics as well. I am on Patreon. If you want to support me, that's one of the better places you can do that, and you will find me at Kurt's Religion and Politics on Patreon. I have a podcast. The podcast is podcasts with an S .kpschubert.com. That's podcasts.kpschubert.com. I think you should be able to find me with relative ease on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify as well. The best way I find to do that is to look for Kurt's Religion and Politics. You can try to use the Daily Summation. I find that it doesn't work as well as a general rule, but you can always try that. I'm glad to have you aboard today, and hopefully we will see you again tomorrow.